I actually wrote this quote down because I knew I was going to talk to you today, and it popped into my head, and it's so powerful. I love Mary Oliver. I love
Mhm.
poetry, but she's one of my favorites. But she has this quote. I'll read it to you. The most regretful people on earth are those who felt the call to creative work, who felt their own creative power, restive and uprising. Oh, it makes me teary, and gave it neither power nor time. What? It's so true.
Welcome to the Wellness Amazon podcast, where we talk about everything body, mind, and spirit, health, and wellness. No subject is taboo here, and we have fun peeling back all the layers. Let's do this. Welcome, everybody, to a new episode of the Wellness Amazon podcast. Today, with someone who I know from Alaska for many, many, many years, Wrynn. And she is an art teacher and so much more. Very
Oh,
passionate about what she does, very artistically inclined, very talented.
uh,
And we're going to talk about art therapy and the therapeutic benefits of art, not just for HSPs, because I think this is how we got here. You saw a couple of episodes of, or heard that we're talking about highly sensitive people. And then you said, hey, we should talk about art for people that get easily overwhelmed and overstimulated.
uh-huh.
And I thought, I think everybody totally is like overstimulated today. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
this pertains to everybody. And, but you work with children.
Mhm.
And I want to hear all about that. So, first of all, welcome to the show. I know
Thank
you're a
you
very
for having.
busy woman. And yeah, who are you and how did you get here to do what you do?
Yeah. Yeah, we know each other from way back in Alaska. I grew up in Texas actually and ended up back here, but I lived in Alaska for 21 years, 21,
Wow.
21, 22. Um, and yeah, I started my teaching career there. Actually finished college there. Got my teaching degree at UAA. Uh, and my daughter actually just graduated from there with the art degree too. So yay, that's a big exciting accomplishment for her. But yeah, I think I was always doing art since I was little. It was my like safe place, my escape, my way to calm down, my way to sort of like recenter. And I thought I wanted to be an artist, and then I got to college, and I had also really always loved spending time with children. I think I started babysitting when I probably wasn't even old enough to be babysitting, which is like a meme going around now, right? Like
Yeah.
Gen X kids were babysitting, by ourselves at night when we were 8 years old. I don't know. Yeah, so I kind of started taking a path towards maybe wanting to teach art, and yeah, so I became an elementary general ed teacher first because they were cutting art from the schools at the elementary level, which is a whole conversation, right? That's like
Uh-huh.
continued to where we are now. And I eventually worked my way up. I really wanted to teach art. So then was teaching secondary art, middle school and high school out in the valley and outside of Anchorage and Wasilla and the Palmer area. Um, and yeah, so now I stepped away from teaching for a little bit, maybe had some big family things happening, maybe 3, 4 years, ended up moving back to Texas, and lo and behold, here I am back teaching art again. So, and I feel like, I mean, I've taught every age. I've taught literally toddlers all the way to, adults, elderly people, even because we all need art. We all need art. Right now I teach elementary art during the week, but I also teach teen and adult, clay ceramics hand building class, once a week. Yeah, so that's kind of where I am and how I got here and how we know each other from a mutual friend who's been on your
Yes.
podcast.
Yes. Multiple times.
Oh, okay, okay. I only caught it once, I think. I feel like we all desperately need a creative outlet right now. Do you want me to just Okay. I think
Yeah, before we
okay.
jump in, I
Yeah.
actually have a quick question for you,
Okay.
total side question.
Okay.
When you say you have taught art to every age in the book, right?
Yes.
Who's easier, children
Oh,
or
oh my
adults?
gosh. Definitely kids, I think,
Mm, I
because
figured.
they're uninhibited. Like
Yeah.
um, no one's convinced them yet that they don't know how to create things or they're not
Mhm.
second guessing themselves, they're just completely immersed in they're present, like and just in play. They're in play, and that's
Yeah.
where I feel like we should be more of the time and how we could be less dysregulated if we could be more like them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's naturally where kids are and where they want to be. I feel like we have some real problems right now in the way that we have sort of, at least I'm looking at it from a public school teacher's perspective, the way that we've steered them away from play maybe too early and too much. And then there's the whole issue of technology. Not to go down the dark road right at the beginning of our talk, but it's like a lot of stress that I carry every day at my job, and because I see it, like it's in my face how much it's affecting them.
Yeah.
So yeah, something that
Yeah.
we all need to be considering, I think,
Yeah.
these
Well, I
days.
mean, again, side quest, but as a
Mm.
European,
Yes.
growing up in the European school system, I'm not
Mhm.
saying it's the non plus ultra, the super
Mhm.
duper perfect, right? Especially when we get into older kids and
Mhm.
college and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
the early years of education, we're
Mhm.
talking about preschool, kindergarten,
Yeah.
elementary school.
Mhm.
I 100% disagree with what we do in this country. Like you said,
Yeah.
there's not enough play, there's not enough art, there's not enough
Mhm.
music, like, all of these things
Mhm.
they're not
Mhm.
elective. In
Yeah.
Germany, you have to have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The humanities. It's like, how do we how do we hold on to our humanity? We teach humanities, like the minute we start stripping our education system of humanities, we're hurting ourselves as a whole. Not only are we hurting our kids, which we are, but yeah, that's how we've evolved, if as much as we've evolved, right? Is like this study of who are we and how did we get here and how do we become better and how do we not repeat mistakes, and that's all the humanities that are being disseminated. Not by everyone. There's a lot of us out there who are fighting the good fight to for our kids and just for all of us to hold on to this humanness that is drifting away. Sorry, I sound like a nihilist. I do. I
It
it's not all that bad, right? Like kids want to be creative. People want to be creative. It is like it's in our DNA. We are born creators and we need to be creating. And I that can look like a lot of things, right? Like I have friends that say, "Oh, I adult friends, I can't do art. I can't draw."
Mhm.
And I usually say, "Well, you probably can. It's, what we really like dedicate a lot of our attention to. We practice, right? Because it's something that we love. But if that's not what you love, there's something that you're doing where you are creating because it is who we are. And I think we have to make space for it. We have to keep space for it. And I think the more organic it can be, especially for kids, the better. Like, do do we need technology or can it help us? Yeah, I think it's a tool. It's a great tool, and we can really benefit from it. But when it becomes the primary source of the way you think you're learning or the way you're spending your time, especially for kids, that's a problem. I believe that's a problem. Yeah. Yeah.
So going back to what you do and what you
Yeah.
observe when you no matter if that's kids or adults with
Mhm.
people that are I mean, we're all overwhelmed and stressed, and
Mhm.
people have burnout and all that kind of stuff, right?
Mhm.
Where does art come into play?
I mean, well, again, I think that can look like a lot of things, right, for different people. And maybe if we, like for myself, I would say art, but I try to use the word like creativity or like where are we being creative or where can you bring that into your day, into your practice. We're so busy, right? We're so busy, but if you can make space in your day to I'm trying to think of examples what it might look like just for everyone, like making one little corner of your space beautiful. I mean, as small as like rearranging a shelf and just putting some things there that make you really happy. That's creating, right? Um, if you can get into the practice where you can sit down in a quiet space, it is like meditation, right? And find something that brings you joy with just like limited supplies, even if it's just, sketching the window and what's outside the window, like just starting there. There's some really, really amazing people who like have dedicated their life to this and teaching people how much this can improve your quality of life and how it can de-stress you and like just bring you joy even if you're skeptical. um Danny Gregory, I don't know if you're familiar with him. Everyday Matters, I think is what it's called. Danny Gregory, he's got a YouTube channel. He's wonderful. He's written several books. They're all about how he sketches daily and how it has just like changed his life. And he's got just so many people who follow him who have like testimonials about how much he's helped them just through like daily sketching. Um Julia Cameron, she's a very famous book about daily art practice and like morning writing and like giving your brain and your presence this space like first thing in the morning when we're rested, we've had time to like dream and form all of these, amazing ideas and thoughts and like giving yourself permission to like get them on paper before you get into this other side of your brain that has you, calculating and planning and going and going. Yeah. So you can start really slow, but I feel like, um, and I really, from personally, but I could see for others also like connecting this to meditation. Like if you are someone who feels like you're able to create a little space for meditation, you could also take it to the next level of just sitting quietly and receiving to taking what you received and putting it back onto paper or canvas, or maybe you sing, maybe garden or you cook. Those are all, to me, those are all forms of art, honestly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
It's
if I answered your question.
it does, and
Okay.
I'm glad there's a lot of things in there I would like to
Mm.
pick on
Okay. Oh,
because first of all, yes, I have been guilty myself about this when people hear creativity. They don't even have to hear art, just the
yeah.
overarching creativity. People automatically think of
Mhm.
drawing or painting a lot of
Mhm.
times.
Right.
And you're like, "No, that's
Mhm.
not," but it also doesn't have to be pottery or, playing an
Mhm.
instrument. You
Mhm.
cooking a meal,
Mhm.
you're creating
Mhm.
something
Mhm.
that's creative. Or when you make your bed and you make a decision, "Oh, I think those pillows would look better with that
Yeah,
duvet cover." Guess what? You
exactly.
just went and you creative. Um, and I think adults really get stuck into that, like, "Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not good at this, I
They
can't
do.
draw," and boom, it's done. I can't draw,
Mhm.
done. I cannot be
Mhm.
creative, which is so sad. Um, and I love how you described when you just look at a window and you just draw it, and it's just for
Yeah,
yourself. You don't have to show it to anyone.
exactly.
There's no shame, right?
That's right.
That is a form of meditation
It is. Mhm.
because It's again, this has come up in so many episodes that have nothing
Mhm.
to do with meditation. It's a mindful practice. It's
Yeah,
turning on that monkey brain, turning off the monkey brain.
yeah,
You're not doing 45 things at the same
yeah,
time. No, you're sitting there and you're drawing and you have to look at the window so you get it right on paper and you have to
yeah,
look back up and it's taking you out of that overthinking
yeah,
mode without you again having that stigma in your head, "Oh, I have to sit there crisscross applesauce and go,
yeah,
No, you don't. You
yeah,
actually don't."
yeah. It's just being present, right? It's just being
Mhm.
fully present for a moment or, however long you choose to, like, engage with that activity. You know who's really good at getting us out of that stuckness and that monkey brain? Kids. They're
Mhm.
better teachers for us than we are for them. I mean, I see it all the time. I should give them more credit. Like, I should tell them more. Like, wow, I just learned something from you because they are so good at just being in the moment and not worrying what everyone else thinks. There is an age, where, and I've seen it shift a little, where they start to be more aware and they really want your approval and they start to want their friends' approval and their parents' approval. But there's a
Mhm.
younger age where they're not worried about that yet and they're just creating. And if you can engage with them in that, if you have kids, in your life, like that you can just borrow for some time and sit down with even like nieces, nephews, neighbors, like, and do just like some little activities, they will pull you out of it. Like, it's a form of play, right? Yes, you're creating, but you're really playing. We need that. We desperately need that. And I'm guilty of it. Like, I teach art all day, every day during the week, and I'm guilty of it. Like, my partner will say, like, "What art are you creating for yourself?" And I'm like, I don't always practice what I preach, right? Because we're tired and we're like, oh, I could just sit here and do nothing and just zone out to technology or whatever. But when you're with kids, they easily just pull you into their world, like you could start so simple as like just like gathering up just things you already have, like literally sticks, vegetables, like broccoli works really well, little gadgets from your kitchen, and find some form of color. It doesn't even have to be paint. It could be an ink pad. It could be paint. It could be, something so simple. There's all these recipes on social media now for like easy things you can make, like cloud dough, which is so fun. Those kinds of little things, and just mark making, making some little cloud dough and just sculpting for a few minutes. I mean, I know that everybody who watches this will. I feel like they will know what I'm talking about because everybody's experienced it as an adult at some point in time, right? Where you've been with kids and you're like, oh, I forgot what this feels like, or just the way that they play outside when they're allowed to, and just, they still have that innate ability to just create their own world, right? And that's what I really desperately want us all to hold on to, um, and not get pulled into somebody else's world or a world that isn't actually real, or being able to decipher what is and what isn't, because that's happening for them where they are. I know I keep coming back to this, but it is something that I'm like constantly kind of thinking about and struggling with. What is real for them and what isn't, and how much time they spend on technology, to the point where at some point and some age, they literally start to get a little confused about, what's real. I don't know. That makes sense. Yeah.
I get confused.
I know. Yeah, right? Now anymore, it's like really hard to tell. And I feel like I'm pretty discerning, but yeah, lately there's been a couple of times where I'm like getting enraged about something and then realizing, like reading the whole thread of comments or whatever, going down the rabbit hole, like, oh, that's not even real, but it was so
Mhm.
convincing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a whole new
Mhm.
world.
Yep. It
Yeah.
is. And
Mhm.
I'm trying to be open-minded about the whole AI, especially AI in art,
Right.
because there is beauty in it too. I mean,
Right.
I'm a huge fantasy book lover, and my goodness, there is fans
Mhm.
out there that create
Yeah.
the most incredible fan art, and I do
Yeah.
admire it. And I mean, they use AI, but I do admire it because their vision, I my brain is incapable of going there. Like when I
Yeah.
read these fantasy books, I always tell my kids because they read them too, is that
Yeah.
I have problems envisioning size
Yeah.
of palaces and sizes of rooms and all these
Yeah.
things that I can't envision. It's always
Yeah.
very small in my brain. And then when you have
Mhm.
someone who has that vision and who brings that to life, it's beautiful. However, I don't know. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I had
Yeah.
friends that did exactly that
Mhm.
with airbrushing.
I know. I
And
know.
and now I have friends that still do airbrushing.
Yeah.
They have to go now into the like, body auto kind of
Yeah.
zone. So now they airbrush cars because that is
Yeah.
the only industry for them where they can
Yeah.
get a foothold with their art.
I mean, yeah,
So,
it's shifted so quickly, and I think it's gonna keep going. Like, it's I mean, it's not going anywhere, right? And it's like you said, it's a double-edged sword. Like, is that the saying? It's a double-edged sword. It's like
yeah.
there are some benefits to it, some real benefits, and it does help artists in certain ways. But then there's this other side of it, yeah, where some arts and artists are being displaced and it's not regulated. So, in the way that it's able to basically steal art from artists who've spent their lives like organically creating this art, and it's able to just, pan through it so quickly and take whatever it wants and then rebrand it,
Yeah.
and like we both said, like it's hard to discern now what is, you know, someone's real art versus this kind of stolen art, which is, I mean, that's kind of how I think about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to see, kind of what happens. I haven't
Yeah.
taken a deep dive into it yet because it stresses me out and I'm like, I don't have the answers. I don't know. I don't exactly kind of know what's going to happen yet, but I see these artists who I really admire and who have just poured their whole beings into the art that they make and how destructive it's feeling for them. And that is real.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love, following local artists, and
Hmm.
obviously not every art is your jam. I mean, there's
Right.
people that do things that I'm like, "Oh, this is not speaking to me, I'm sorry." You
Right.
know? There's
Right.
one gal, she's from St. Augustine, Florida, and
Mm.
God, I love when she posts videos on Facebook on how she actually, time speed up, but she shows how she creates this, and you watch her, the first, I don't know, 2 minutes, you're like, "What the world is this going to be?" And then you see the end result, and you're all just mouth open, everything. It's the most
Yeah.
beautiful thing. She plays with light, and she uses her fingers a lot instead of brushes.
Mhm.
Um, that is just where I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
willing to pay
Mhm.
$400 for that painting because it just brings me so much joy looking
Yeah.
at it. It's
Mhm.
majestic,
Mhm.
and I hope that people hold on to this value, to see the value in those things, that a human created this and it has been painted
Yeah.
literally with her hands on
Yeah.
the canvas.
I
Um,
think they will. I have a lot of hope that, you know, that we will. And I feel like we're in a pendulum swing right now, which is something that we talk about in education. It's like the pendulum always swings past center point and it goes really
mhm,
far to the other side. And then at some point it does come back. And that's what I'm hoping that we can, see what's happening, use our big brains. I tell my kids,
yeah,
use your big brain. Use our big brains and see that, oh, okay, let's, let's adjust for what makes sense here and not allow this to just zoom out of control.
yeah.
I'm trying to be an optimist. about it.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
And I agree with you. I
Yep.
think that, one of my friends always says that to me too. She's very okay with AI, but she sees the
Mhm.
balance and things, and she always
Yeah.
says, when people are so much fed of artificial, artificial, artificial,
Right.
the hunger for humanity actually gets bigger, and
Yeah.
people will seek that out eventually.
Yeah.
So, here's hoping.
Yes. Agree. Agree.
So, when you work with, again, let's say kids that are
Mhm.
very, let's say, hyperactive or have a hard time concentrating, or they have anxiety, which unfortunately
Yeah.
nowadays that's a thing with
Mhm.
children,
Yeah.
um, and they start for the
Mhm.
first time incorporating art and just creating, and you witness this with them, right?
Mhm.
What can you tell us how this journey looks like with these children?
Well, I mean, oh my goodness. Just like thinking over a 20 plus year career of doing this, like that, the number of kids who are struggling, to manage their own emotions and like self regulate, it's off the charts. And it's a whole nother podcast, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we talk about it a lot. I talk to my kids about it. I talk to my classes about it, um, how art can really benefit them as a self practice. And like, not, some of my students grow up and become artists? Yeah, they will. And some of them have like amazing artists. But not all of them, right? But it's sort of like, what I hope they learn also in like physical education is like, this is something you can incorporate that can help you be a better person and help you regulate your own emotions, for yourself, because adulthood is not the same, right? You're going to have some responsibilities here. We do a lot of like collaborative type art where they're having to, you know, where we take a moment, we take a break, or a whole class sometimes, to work together calmly to do like some art that is a little bit of problem solving, but creating together, because I think that is really important and something they're lacking. Like creating mandalas where we pass them around, like we start them and then they get passed and they have to share and they have to add on and they have to think like, this belongs to someone else too, not just me. Those type of things. Um, I think it's kind of a standard practice, at least for the schools that I've been in for the last few years, to have like a space. Space is limited, but I still have a
Mhm.
space that's like, a lot of teachers call it a calm down corner. I call it the safe space. I have just like a little corner that's kind of protected. And it's, a space for them to go take some time. But in my room, they have some limited supplies to sit there and actually outlet that frustration. If that feels like something that's helpful for them, which 90% of the time they do. They use, they have a clipboard and, whatever is over there on that day. Um, and then we talk about like, how did that feel for you? How did it help you? How could you do this on your own? Sometimes they'll write a note to the, like, what's frustrating them.
Mhm.
Maybe it's a note they can give to the teacher or the other student or whatever's happening that is, beneficial. Or sometimes I've told them, you can create something that helps you outlet this frustration that you're having, and then you can just throw it away and it's okay. Like, you need a way to be able to outlet all of this weight that you're carrying, and they're absorbing so much of what's happening around them. Like, um even though parents are really trying, and some of these parents are so young, it's a lot. It's a lot. Um But yeah, I'm trying to teach them that art is one of the ways that you can help yourself. It's a lifelong skill that you can use to help yourself. So like self-regulating. I mean, it's proven that creating something, art specifically, lowers stress. It lowers cortisone. It helps you come back to center, be focused, be present. When you feel like you're pulled in a thousand directions and you don't, know what to do.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm not a trained or licensed art therapist, but I do know for a fact art is therapy. Even if it's
yeah,
not being done in a clinical fashion, it is therapeutic to do art. Yeah. I mean, it has
absolutely.
saved me countless times. And, it literally truly saved me in high school. Yeah, that's a whole other story, but yeah. Yeah.
And I think for children, it might be a little bit easier because
Mhm.
well, no, let me rephrase that. It's easier for children when they have someone like you in their
Mm.
lives because what you do is you give them a plethora of material, right? All
Mhm.
these things they can use, all these
Mm.
different elements they might
Mhm.
use that are artistic, that are used for creativity,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
everybody has an intuition on what they feel
Mhm.
declined with or
Mhm.
inclined to. If a child only gets crayons and paper, then that's limited. That's it. But if they have someone
Yeah.
like you who's like, no, there's clay, there's watercolors, there's stuff you
Yeah.
can throw against a wall if you want to, put,
Yeah.
I don't know, do whatever you do over there. There's your
Yeah.
clipboard. You can write, you can do. Then kids have this, oh, I feel drawn to this, and they can do that. For me,
Mhm.
it took me almost 40 years to find out that writing is
Yeah.
more therapeutic than
Yeah.
making art in any other way. But
Yeah.
I, I used to hate it when people say, "Oh, you have to journal." I don't want to journal. This is way too much
Yeah.
work. No, you got to
Yeah.
journal. I don't want to journal. And
Yeah.
I did this course, and the main thing of the course was journaling. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, God, Lord, okay, okay, fine, I'll do it." Boy, oh boy,
Yeah.
things came up and things
Yeah.
came
Mhm.
out.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. Um, but people need to have that the
The
chance
yeah, the
to
space.
explore.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and they need to kids, but adults too, because, we come
Mhm,
to it when we come to it, right? It's okay to mess up. It's okay to not be perfect. And like you said, sketching the window just for yourself. No one needs to even know about it. Um, but yeah, kids need to know like I tell them every day, you're gonna mess up. That is how we learn. You're gonna mess up and then you're gonna do it better. And it builds confidence because, you know, oh wow, I'm really droning on about this gaming and technology thing, but they they want instant gratification and they want to have done everything perfectly. It's like predictable, it's scripted, it goes a certain way, they get a reward for it everything, that they accomplished. Um and that's kind of like not real life, I've had times where I don't let them erase. I'm like, "You're not allowed to erase." It's like
uh-huh,
I'm torturing them. Like, "No, mess up and keep going. Mess up and keep going." That's what we do. That's how we learn, and this is gonna make you better at whatever it is you're trying to do, writing or art or I'm not gonna say don't erase in math. I don't know. I don't know what they do over there. That part of my brain is still like, trying to catch up. But yeah, they, and it feels so good, right? To mess up and, "Oh, man, that's so frustrating, that's so disappointing." And then we do, I'm just using drawing because it's an easy one to pull up quickly. We do another drawing that's similar, on a different day, and they do better, and they're so proud, and that's real. That's real life. That's how we grow and learn and get and gain confidence and become, people who are gonna go out there and contribute and be part of society, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm being that felt very preachy, but I think you understand what I mean.
well, you were sitting at the source. You see
Yeah.
what it does to people.
Mhm.
So when you talk about this and your experience, like you said, over,
Yeah.
way over 20 years, you can be like, "Duh, I know
Yeah.
what's happening when you do that."
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, and I think it's always good to remember if we can remember what we liked as kids. And I say that because I have two, and I see how different they create and what art for them means. So one
Mhm.
of them is the absolute straightforward drawing, has a whole sketchbook
Yeah.
for herself. Doesn't
Mhm.
sometimes she shows it, most of the time she doesn't. But this is her hobby. The other one, mm, no, the
Yeah.
hands need to be. There is slime, and then there's
Oh,
slime
yeah.
she makes, and then there's glue, and
Mhm.
then, like,
Mhm.
I have to be careful what I give her because the
Mhm.
carpet upstairs is completely ruined by now. Um, she takes my expensive gel polish and makes an origami frog and then
Yeah.
encasts the origami frog with
Yeah,
my
I love
$20
it.
gel polish and puts the frog in the LED
Mhm.
light, and it hardens, and now it's like a little figurine. I'm like, "This is very
Yeah.
sweet." However,
Yeah. That's
it's,
so great, though. It's so
it
great. It's
yeah.
worth it. I know polish is expensive, but yeah, it's so worth it. I mean, I remember, and there's a meme going around about this too, about kind of like our age group, um, about how, and we did this. um we made like these potions. Like you would go, get some dirt and then get like something out of the pantry, and then like get some lotion, and we would just make these. I mean, was it wasteful? Yeah, probably kind of. But it was just like so thrilling to like create these bubbly like concoctions. Like just creating. I'm not saying, let your kids mix up everything in your watchers. I'm not saying that. But I mean, just this element of like, I mean, I spent a lot of time on our family farm when I was a kid. And like a lot of my very most heartfelt, my best memories are there. And and my cousins, they still live there. We still have that farm. But anytime I was out of school, anytime I had a choice, I was like beeline for the farm, take me to the farm. And there was nothing to do there. I mean, I say that, nothing to do. Like at that time, at that age, like most of my friends would not have wanted to go out there with me because they would have been bored. I
Uh-huh.
loved it. I'm sure I did complain about it too at the time. Um, but we just invented things because we had to. There was like limited TV. It was The air conditioning only came on if somebody was, like, visiting after church. So it was like like the box air conditioners, and it was only, like, for special occasions. So it was hot inside and outside, so you might as well go outside. And we just, like we I my cousins were there on and off, but I was often by myself, just created stuff. I was always,
Uh-huh.
like, pressing flowers and drawing them and, like, then, like, gluing them to things, and kind of like your daughter's frog, just, like, finding remnants of fabric or, like, dish towels that were getting thrown out and, like, stitching on them. I didn't know what I was doing, but I liked it, and I
Yeah.
felt like I was figuring things out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
want that for our kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I remember when our mutual friend, Aaliyah, made this club, still when we all lived in Alaska, this
Uh-huh.
club of everybody come to my house and we're just going to do art.
Yeah.
And it was all
Yeah.
these different materials and journals
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Mhm.
And I was so, I don't know, I was like inhibited. And I think it was because I always put pressure on myself because
Yeah.
I actually studied art for a semester before I
Okay.
completely changed over to like business, right? Um, And man, that school, that art school really scarred me for life
Oh, oh,
because it was
oh,
this
oh, don't even get me started on that. How
right.
much art school messes people up. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because as you just said,
Mhm.
art is art. There is no right, there is no
Yeah.
wrong. But when you go to art school, out of a sudden, everything you do, nah, that's not,
Yeah.
no, I'm not going to give
Yeah.
you an A on that. Why?
Mhm.
Well, it just doesn't speak to, well,
Mhm.
it doesn't speak
So
to
objective.
you,
Yeah. Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Been
anyway.
there. Yes.
I'm glad you understand.
Uh-huh. I totally agree. Yep. I'm sorry
Isn't
that
that
happened
weird?
to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to unlearn that.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
had to
Right.
unlearn. Yeah, it
Mhm.
was crazy. Um, but to this day, she sometimes has to pep talk me and be like, "When's the last time you journaled?"
Oh, you said
Mm.
it just like her.
Or, "Well, why is your art journal empty?"
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
have the time." And then she looks at me and goes, "You make time."
Yeah.
Okay.
We should Zoom to do that. We should just
We
we
should.
could have a Zoom creativity club. Just
Yeah,
hang
we
out and
should.
just do what you want. Make a thing. Make a thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what I wanna mention too, because of talking to so many people from different walks of life on this
Mhm.
show
Yeah.
and reading all the books and doing all whatever courses and
Mhm.
stuff that I've done in a spiritual sense. So I'm not
Mhm.
talking about necessarily religion, but more like Buddhism and the Tao and
Mhm.
all of these things, mostly all Eastern a lot, right?
Mhm.
All of these philosophies, let's call it that,
Yeah.
are always talking about two things. One is the Dharma, so your
Mhm.
sole purpose. You have
Mhm.
to do for in your life what you're meant to do, what calls you. If you don't do that, you get sick. And the second
Oh, yeah.
thing is always
Yes.
creation. If you
Yeah.
don't create, you get ill.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
it sounds harsh,
Yeah.
but it is true because
It's
people
true.
are meant to create.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like the kids that I mentioned, like carrying around all this stress. That's a lot of it isn't even theirs. I mean, a lot of adults do that, right? We just,
Mm.
especially highly sensitive people. We should make a club for that.
Yeah.
Or if there is a club, let me in because yeah, yes. Um, but yeah, I absolutely 100% believe that that's true. And what do I know? But I feel like I know people close to me who have literally gotten sick for that reason. I actually wrote this quote down because I knew I was going to talk to you today and it popped into my head and it's so powerful. I love Mary Oliver. I love
Mhm.
poetry, but she's one of my favorites. She so was so amazing. But she has this quote. I'll read it to you, Kenna. It's short. The most regretful people on earth are those who felt the call to creative work, who felt their own creative power, restive and uprising. Oh, it makes me teary. And gave it neither power nor time.
Yeah.
What? It's so true. I know that if I have a regret, and I hope I don't have any, whenever it's time for me to go somewhere else and do something else, I don't want to have that regret. Like,
Mhm.
I could have created more. I could have taught people to create more. I could have shown people, like the joy you get from creating or like shared this love of creating. So I do think I have done that. Like my regret would be that I didn't create more myself, but let me tell you, teaching takes it out of you. Not to make
Mhm.
excuses, but I mean, and the older I get, the more I'm like at the end of the week, oh my gosh, I literally need like, a recovery day to
Yeah.
to be like okay again. Man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sometimes it's the purpose, right? Like what you said, do you create for yourself or do you create for other people? And then
Oh,
sometimes you
right.
need that, right? It has a different energy when you just can like use it as an outlet versus, oh,
Yeah.
you need to
Yeah.
produce something at the end of the day.
Yeah. Kids are
Mm.
really good about holding you accountable though. They will ask me like, "What are you making? What have you been drawing?" Like, and I'll say, "Oh." well, not that much lately. And they're like, why? Why not?
Mhm,
It's so
mhm.
funny. And I'm like, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, mhm, yeah. See, you have your kids doing that, I have Leah doing that. She
Yes, good, good.
she holds
Yeah.
me accountable. Yeah, yeah. We
We
all
need
we all
someone.
need people like that in our lives.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I think since we're talking about quotes, and you might have to help me with that one, but I think it was
Okay.
Picasso who said, "We're all artists, we just forget when we grow up," or something
Yeah.
like that. I'm
Yeah.
probably butchering it, but I think it's pretty close, and,
That's the
that
gist of it, exactly.
it's
All children are artists.
mhm,
It's like all children are artists. It's just, yeah, it's remembering it as we grow up. Oh, you're right. We'll have to look it up. But yeah, that's such a good quote.
yeah, yeah, it is,
Yeah,
and
he
it's
had some
true.
good ones actually. Some
Mhm,
really good quotes about the power of art and creating. Yeah.
yeah. So if we're talking to either a parent because,
Hmm.
our listeners are mostly female, not shooting
Yeah.
down any guys listening, okay?
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, and mostly in, I would say, over 30 to
Hmm.
maybe 60. That's data, by the way.
Okay.
I'm not making this up. I'm just reading the data. And so if an adult for themselves or a parent for their child hears this and wonders, well, where do I start? What should I do? What would be your I guess entryway into like the gateway into creating in a more calming manner?
For themselves or as parents, like for children.
Both.
Hmm. Because I mean, they really are two different things, and if you can do both, that's like the the perfect scenario, right? Like, I mean, like I said, if you have children or grandchildren or nieces or nephews or, in your orbit, you have kids who you can create with, and you feel like you're a little stuck or struggling or a little afraid, that's your
Mm,
in right there. Just even the limited supplies, like you said, even just crayons and paper, and just ask them, what do you feel like drawing? And let them lead. That's it. I mean, they will. Or you can do it as like a game. You can do it as like collaboration. Um, I love that game. I play it with my students, usually toward at the beginning of the year to kind of get them, you know, um, less concerned about what everyone's thinking or taking it too seriously, which I'm also very guilty of, like Capricorn over here. So I'm all talking about play and these are things that I have to like constantly remind myself. Like it's always doesn't come naturally to me either, even though it's what I do for a living and it's what I'm preaching all the time. I have to like remind myself. We play a game. I'm sure you've played it. It's called Exquisite Corpse. Do you know about it?
no.
It's so fun. So it's a game where this is a great starting place, by the way. Any age, literally any age. It was started in the 1920s by a group of artists who were surrealists, Duchamp, and there was a whole handful of them. And they used to play it at parties, and then it just sort of took off, and it's just been around a long time. But you take like a paper and you fold it into thirds. We fold it into thirds, and you keep it folded so that the person so it's a passing game. The person that you're going to pass to doesn't see what you drew. So you
Mhm,
start it at the top, say, and then you fold it so that your part is covered up and you pass it. And then the next person adds on, and then you keep doing that. You could fold it more times and you could change it up. And then they're just these crazy cool creations. And if you can imagine, like you can Google and see some of the ones that the surrealists did, and they're amazing. I'm pretty sure some of them are in a museum or more than one museum. They're pretty cool. That's a great game to play. I think I might be wrong about this, but I feel like it was called Exquisite Corpse because I feel like it started. with artists who were writers first. Like, they would write something and cover it up and pass it, and then add to it and add to it and then read it, and then it became a visual art version of
Mhm.
that. I think that's correct. Anyway, it's such a weird name. The kids are always like, "Why is it called that?" So that's a fun one. And then, I mean, just keeping it really light and easy. Like I said, whatever you have around. I've even taken like old markers and you can put them upside down, like you're going to throw them away. You can put them upside down in water and make like watercolor paint out of them. Those little, homemade doughs are so fun. Waldorf schools did you go to a Waldorf school? I can't
Mm-mm.
remember. No, you didn't. I taught at a Waldorf inspired school for 1 year in Alaska.
Mhm.
There's some really beautiful things about that discipline of teaching. But one of the things they do is they use it's honeybee wax. It comes in
Mm.
sticks, and they use it to. It usually goes with like books, like or stories, and they sculpt something, and they start really small, but it takes a lot of your energy to turn that beeswax into a little sculpture. I've
Yeah.
seen kids do it too with the wax that comes off the Baby Bell cheese. I had a high school student that made amazing, amazing tiny sculptures out of that cheese wax, and she used to give them to me.
Mhm.
I have photos of some of them. I mean, unbelievable. But I mean, yeah, just starting small. The wax is great because it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of like willpower to even make it into like I used to read a story, it was about a bird, a crow, I think, and they would make an egg. So it had to be an egg. Like it couldn't just be a ball. It couldn't even be like, just like oval shaped. It had to be an egg shape. And it was hard. And those my kids were older. They weren't young. In fact, the beeswax is too difficult for really young children. It's too much for them. Um I'm on a tangent about beeswax. But yeah, so small things that you can do together, kind of letting them lead, making it into a game, just, keeping it really simple. And then, like in your own practice, again, I'm just kind of back to this meditative, like if you can create like 10 minutes in a quiet space, like we have to find to do this, podcast right now, like a quiet little corner where you can just sit, just a pad of paper and cheap markers, Five Below markers. They have really great markers for $5, by the way. And just sit with it. Just sit with it. Like, and even if you end up journaling in one of your marker colors, like that feels very alive and energetic. If you haven't done it, just write whatever comes into your head. Just kind of like this automatic writing, like I was talking about in that Julia Cameron book. Um, And then if you need, I mean, honestly, if you need ideas, there's so many beautiful artists out there just pouring information onto, their sites and social media, trying to share this energy of like, you know, bring this into your life. It's going to help you so much. Danny Gregory is a great place to start. Honestly, I love him so much. Um, I'm happy to help anybody. If anybody wanted to reach out, and just to do like a short little Zoom like this. And I did this for a friend of mine, by the way, and she was a dance teacher. And she was one of these people. She was so creative. Everything about her was creative. The way she dressed, just, she's such a creative person. And she would always say, I can't do art. I'm not artistic. And I can't remember if I encouraged her or she asked me, but for a while, I think it was during COVID, we did these little Zooms. And I was like, okay, now go find this in your house. Go find this. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. And we would just do the simplest little things. And she started like a little like an art journal. And we just kept it super simple. And she was like, oh my gosh, this is like the best experience. This feels so good. I mean, they were no fail type little activities that anyone could do. And that's possible for everyone. I think it's honestly the hard part, the only hard part is creating the space and the time and getting out of your head. Getting out
Yeah.
of your head. Okay? Like,
Yeah.
no one cares. No one
Yeah.
like, you know, like, it's for you. It's just for you. And if you wanna share it, you can, and if you don't, oh, you don't need to.
Yeah.
There's always gonna be someone who's like this happens to me all the time because I follow so many artists, and oh my gosh, there's so much amazing art out there. And, after scrolling, for 30 minutes, I'm just like, "Oh, how did I even end up doing this?" There's so many people who are so good at this, even teaching, like, art teachers that I follow who are, like, influencers or whatever. I mean, I know one of them personally, and she's amazing.
Mhm.
Um, there's always gonna be somebody who we think is better than us at what we do. I mean, do we wanna spend our time doing that with our brain, or do we wanna spend our time saying, "And also, oh, well, this is what I'm gonna do anyways because I care about it and it's good for me and it feels good and, it's what I admire about them, so let's do this." And
Right.
also, social media isn't real. Like, even the person that I know personally, I know her personally. And I mean, is she an amazing teacher? Yep, she is. Does she do the things that she puts out there? She does. I also know she, I mean, I haven't asked her about it, but I know that she spends countless hours prepping to make those videos, editing them. She spends a lot of time making it look very perfect, which is not necessarily real life. It inspires people
Right.
and it's awesome what she does, and I'm proud for her.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm not going to beat myself up about it because, like I said, like I'm tired and I have other things to do. And, I'm glad people are doing it because it does help people in some way. Um, but I'm not gonna get hung up on like, "Oh my gosh, these people are doing this perfectly and I'm not,"
Right.
because I'm doing a pretty good job, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you wanna create something that takes days
No,
to make, or do you
no.
have the time for 15 minutes a day?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I do the same thing. I'm not an avid TikTok user, but I have to say their videos for people doing journals, like making their own
Yeah,
journaling pages is gorgeous. But then
yeah,
mine don't look that way at all.
yeah,
And I do whatever I can with the time that I have. But I tell you what, when a journal is over a year or longer is finished and I go and I flip, I just, let it flip with my thumb and it just goes. I go, "Wow, I made that.
yeah,
That's kinda cool." And it's
yeah,
very colorful, and it's
yeah.
sometimes really crappy, and
Yay!
sometimes really good, and sometimes very
Yeah,
chaotic, and sometimes it's
yeah.
structured, but it's all in there. And then
Mhm.
it's like, that was me at all points of life in that last year,
Yeah.
and it's a cool thing.
Oh, it's so good, right? Yeah, like that's just makes me feel like so happy for you. I think if you started small with a journal and made it kind of meditative and personal and did it in little bits and if it started to feel really like powerful for you and you wanted to keep going, which I hope, like maybe we're going to pull in a couple of people here I feel like that are just going to like this is going to change their life. Like it can and
Yeah,
not for everyone, but for
yeah,
some people, and like you said, like you just had never had the opportunity to journal, and then you were like, "Oh my gosh, this is like life changing." Someone, you just have to open the door. But I would say I'm going to recommend something for whoever's supposed to hear this out there because I believe in that. If you start small and you're like, "How have I never done this? This is so amazing that I want to keep going." Um, if painting speaks to you at all and, you know, like people who paint very realistically, and I talk to my students about this too, by the way, there's so many different forms of art, right? And that realistic type, especially like the photo realism that they have now, oh my gosh, like it's mind blowing, right?
mhm,
What people can do. But that is a study and that takes, oh my gosh, so much time and energy and practice and perfectionism, and it's awesome. And that's not where you start, right? Like, that's
Right.
not where you start. But if you're just looking for the creative, emotional outlet of it and like the experience and like really just being in it and benefiting from it, there's a form of painting called intuitive painting. And I didn't do it until I was an adult anyway. And I went to a workshop and it was an accident. This whole workshop was magical. The reason I went there and then the things I got from it were completely two different things. But one of the things that I did was I did painting with this artist named Flora Bowley. She's from Oregon. She is a magical, fairy genius artist of a person. Everyone should just go check her out. Um, she would be shocked to hear that. She would probably be like, "Wait, let me think about, like, when did I meet you?" But I know who she is, and I have always followed her since, so she's amazing. She does this and she's not the only one. This has become a whole thing, intuitive painting. But it is so forgiving. You can't mess up. It is just this idea of like playing. It is playing. It's playing with paint and creating these just like amazing backgrounds that you then start to just tweak a little bit. And like you're just sort of looking for, you don't have a plan, right? You're not jumping into this like, I'm going to paint an apple and it's going to look like
Mhm.
an apple and nobody will even be able to tell my painting from a real apple. Like, no, it is. It is just all from here and just going out onto the canvas. And it is so freeing and lovely, and you can do it with, like she uses high-end, wonderful paint, which I love, called Golden. I think she still uses Golden acrylics, but you can start with the little, what is it, like, the little craft barrel or whatever it's called, with the little apple that you literally get from the craft store or Walmart, the little dollar well, nothing's a dollar anymore, whatever they are now, 2, $3 for these little bottles. You can start there, and you can start small. It it
Mhm.
It is life-changing, and it is, like, um, pure magic. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because before we started, we talked about synchronicities.
Oh, yeah.
And just before, I set up and we came on, I got a notification and I was quickly on social media and, algorithm, right?
Mhm.
And the algorithm of all things shows me this lady who makes bookmarks out of plastic food containers, but the really cheap ones where you would get like a cake in or something, those really thin plastic
Yeah.
clamshell things.
Mhm.
And she cuts out the bottom and then puts them over a painting with numbers thing and now paints this thing because it's see-through, so you can see through
Uh-uh.
it and puts all these little charms on it. And I'm like, this is genius. So you can literally make
Oh,
art
yeah.
out of anything,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plastic clamshells for your food.
There you go. There you go. Shrinky Dinks. Remember
Yeah.
Shrinky Dinks from back in the
Yes.
day? They're still around,
Yep.
and yeah, again, if you are have time and space to make some art with kids, they're just you can buy the blank little sheets of it and just use, like, Sharpies or whatever or colored pencils work, and just bake them and shrink them and make little charms. Everybody loves baking Shrinky Dinks. And if you
Yeah.
don't feel like you can create your own little images, you can literally use a coloring book, use it because it's see-through so you can trace it, yeah, and
Mhm.
yeah, so
Yeah.
fun.
There's so many,
So
so many
many.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is there anything we haven't talked about today that you would like to bring up?
No big topic, but just, like, it's up to us, right? It's up to us. We have to wake up every day and figure out, like, who we're gonna go be in the world and, like, if and how we're gonna take care of ourselves so we can do that, and how we're gonna go out there and be part of, what's happening, and can we bring some joy? Can we in some small way, like, raise the vibration a little bit? So I'm a full believer in, we're resonating with this. And like we can kind of get sucked into the dark hole of all of the scary things that are happening and that it's real. or we can just, try to stay informed and acknowledge what's happening and then decide where our power is. And for me, that's like taking care of my own self, so I'm not contributing to it and um, helping spread creativity, especially with kids, because, they have a long way to go in this world and they need all the tools we can give them. And they need to be told, you know, it's okay. It's okay to be creative. It's okay to spend your time doing something that's just good for you. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to want things to be beautiful. Yeah.
Word of the day.
Word.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
And you know, not only educating us, but
Mm,
really, really taking off the pressure of what it means to be creative and letting people give everybody a little bit of freedom and obviously inspiration back to
yeah.
to do what you said. Let it come from here and from nowhere
Mhm.
else. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. It wasn't scary at all.
And now you're a
And
pro.
I would love, yeah, for anybody, I feel I know that we're gonna close out this lovely conversation, and I'm gonna have all of these thoughts like, oh, I should have told them to do this. I should have told them to try this. But really, truly, I'm open to anyone reaching out if you want any guidance or you have questions or you just want me to acknowledge that it's okay. Yeah. I'm here for it. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
you just let me know because I can incorporate that in the show notes and in the blog and all the things.
Okay.
So it's not going to get lost. It's going to get used. And yeah, for all of you listening, go ahead and comment if you do have a question or if you
Yeah.
have an idea and you want to share that with other people. Comment under the show. Everybody can see that. And yeah, share, like, subscribe, do all the things as I always tell you. And I
Yes.
see you next Monday again. Thank y'all. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Leave a comment, give it a thumbs up, a review, and share it with somebody you think needs this. Have a fabulous day. See you next time.